Human language is the best programming language there is. Będzie to taki wywód filozoficzny o AI. I wielkie brawa dla mojego kolegi.
Thank you all for the nice introduction, but I think it would be way cooler if we had like a soundtrack for each speaker. So, you know, like MMA fighters, like when they walk in, so we could use something like that for next year. This is an idea. But yeah, this talk is gonna be in English, and there's a good reason for that. And the reason is because this talk is all about communication, and I believe in this industry, you can't really get far if you don't speak English well. So yeah, that's the reason. Overall, the talk is gonna be about topics like communication within your team, within your product, and I'm gonna explain why AI won't replace programmers. So yeah, but first, let me tell you about myself. So I'm Krzysztof Kowalczyk, and I'm a software engineer at Elastic. I never really planned to be a programmer. It was an accident, let's say. I thought this is something for clever people, and I assumed I'm not good enough. But one day I decided to give it a try, and 4 months later, I got my first job. And since then, I've been working as a programmer, mostly front-end. So yeah, kinda unusual probably for this conference, but yeah. I also passed Japanese language proficiency test at N2 level, which is the second highest. Thank you. This is also something I learned on my own. So yeah, I guess you can see a pattern here. I don't really like having a teacher. I prefer to do stuff my own way. I'm also a big UX enthusiast because I believe that software is made for people, and if your users don't like your application, then what's the point? And well, I'm a capybaras rights activist. This is not a real thing yet, but one day I will make it a real thing. There's also this QR code for my LinkedIn if you're interested. So yeah, let's get started. So this bar here is basically a progress bar. If you ever made a progress bar, you know how hard it is to make it accurate. But yeah, it's really, really hard. But in this case, it wasn't about accuracy, and it was all about what the client wanted. So after I got my first job, I got my first task. It was something relatively easy. I was supposed to make some visual changes to a component. And well, I noticed that there's a loading bar, and it was like unusually long, like very, very long. It took like 10 seconds for the website to load. So I looked up in the code what's happening, and turns out that it was on purpose. Like it was actually a JavaScript function set interval every 1 second, 10% would pass. And I asked my colleagues, like, why? Why did you do that? And the answer was the customer wanted it. So I dug deeper, and it turns out there was no communication at all. Basically, the client wanted a progress bar that would be meaningful. Keep in mind, it was a simple website. There was some data showing up, and basically this progress bar would cover the whole screen. Like you would have a backdrop, so like background covering the whole screen, and there would be this progress bar. So yeah, the client wanted to make it meaningful, but I think like even 1 second was more than enough, but they decided to make it 10. So the customer thought that, well, this is how it's supposed to be, like it's supposed to take the whole 10 seconds for this, but it wasn't the case. And the programmers thought that, well, if the client didn't complain, then it's all good. But you know who suffered the most? The user, because all the users had to like watch this progress bar. Every single time they would refresh the site, it would pop up again. So probably if you sum up all the time wasted on this, I guess it would be in years. It wasn't even that popular website, so yeah. It's one of the examples of lack of communication, because you know, in software, you rarely do it yourself. You communicate with your team, with other stakeholders like clients or like product designers or some other people. So we need to speak their language. And one of the main causes of bugs in software is misunderstood requirements. I don't really have any statistics for that, but I remember looking up some, I think it was hosted by GitHub, some survey on that topic. I couldn't find it. Not yet. Basically, even if your software runs fine, everything seems good, well, you have your test passing, but if it's not what's actually supposed to happen, then yeah, it's a bug, basically. And even recently, I had a case where I thought I did something right, but when I talked to the designer later, it turned out that I was wrong, and basically I misunderstood the requirements. And I thought I was very clear in my communication, but even then, it turned out that I was wrong. So there's a lot of money wasted each year on those misunderstandings. So I believe that it would be good if everyone working on software would put some effort into actually trying to understand the other side. Because like I said, you rarely work alone. You most likely will be working with some other people. And speaking of some other people, even if you're on one team, on one product, you work on the same thing, you use different language for different things. Here I have some examples. Like for example, you can see this text here. Yeah, basically, if you are a web developer or any kind of programmer, you would call it text, simple as that. But for product people, this is something different. They call it copy, like in copywriter, which is really confusing when I started, but I got used to it. Then you have a button. Well, everyone probably seen a button in their life. And well, you would say that this is text, but or maybe inner HTML if this is web development, if you want it to be specific. But designers, especially designers, will call it a label, which doesn't really make sense because a label is a different HTML structure. So yeah, and at the very bottom, there's my favorite one, Q1 of 2025. Like everyone thinks that this is basically January, February, and March of 2025. But for finance people, it's completely different, that it varies from company to company. And I actually caught myself like wondering why I'm working in like Q3 2024 when it's March already. It was like, what the hell? So yeah, this is basically an example of a fact that even if you work with other people, they will use different words to mean different things. And here's an example in Japanese. Those two characters, they are pronounced the same. It's called ame, which is, depending on the context, it has many different meanings. The character on the left is the character for rain, and the character on the right is character for candy. So the same word, two completely different meanings. Technically, there's a thing called pitch accent in Japanese, which makes the pronunciation a bit different, but it's not that different, and especially if you're a foreigner or someone who's learning the language, you wouldn't notice the difference. And speaking of Japanese characters, there's also, they're really useful because like you see, those two words pronounced the same, it's called homophones. If you see it in writing, it's very clear which word it is. But if you actually say those words out loud, well, then it's not so clear. So how do Japanese people communicate if it's like so ambiguous? Well, they use context. So if you know the context, then you're good to go. But if you don't know the context or you don't simply understand what the other person is talking about, then you can't really get far. And also, while I'm talking about those characters, They are really useful for getting the context right. For example, in English, if you want to say zapalenie płuc in Polish, that would be tuberculosis in English. It's a really strange word. It doesn't really make any sense. I know it's from Latin probably, but yeah, if you look at this word and you don't know it, then guessing what it means, it's pretty much impossible. But in Japanese, you have characters which represent the lungs and inflammation, and combined, they represent tuberculosis. So I think that every software developer should learn Japanese and use it daily, because it's clearly the superior language, but let's not talk about it. So we are getting to the gist of the problem, that people don't understand their problems. So why do software engineers, software developers, and other people even exist? Why does IT industry exist? Well, the answer is really simple. We are basically translators for other people who want to do some business. And often those people don't really understand what they really want. So for example, let's say my car broke, and all I really know is that it broke, and I want it to not be broken, to be fixed. But I don't really know what's happening under the hood. So my goal is to fix the car, but I don't really know how. So what I'm gonna do? Well, I'm gonna probably go to a mechanic and ask him to fix my car. That makes sense. So this is the same for software engineers. We are basically problem solvers for other people. And often people don't really know what they want. Like, I'll give you an example. Like my mom asked me about some application. She wanted some tables, like basically Excel, but different. So I told her, you have Excel, you have like Google Sheets and stuff like that. Like, why don't you use that? She's like, no, but my problem is very specific. I need a specific custom solution. So I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. It's like way too much time spent for no real reason. And you can't even explain to me what you actually want. You can just say that you want an application just because. So I told my mom no, and hopefully she's fine with that. And yeah, this is basically a meme, which there's recently a term popped up called vibe coding, and this is a good representation of what vibe coding is. Basically, you are trying to prompt your way into making an actual application without really understanding what to do. So there are a lot of people, especially on social media, who say that programming is gone, we are gonna be unemployed, everyone. So I don't agree with that. Like I said, people don't really understand what their issues are. So, like you see, you can prompt Cursor or whatever other tool to basically fix your problem, but if you don't understand what your problem is, then yeah, you won't really be able to do anything. So for every person who has an idea, there needs to be a programmer. And I believe that even if we increase the AI capabilities, even if we add more power compute to that, even if we develop some better algorithms, I still think we won't get far, because, like I said, if you don't understand the problem, then you can't really fix it. And you might say that if we as programmers solve problems, then why we don't solve all the problems? And basically what I'm trying to say is that each customer has a different domain they want you to make software for. So for example, doctors want a different application than someone in construction industry. And as a programmer, do you need to understand each domain? Not really. This is where communication comes in. And as a software engineer, you should basically try to ask the right questions. And the right questions are basically trying to figure out what the actual problem is. Don't just try to think what the problem is. Talk to your customer. If you can't reach your customer directly, like if you work in a bigger corporation or something like that, then you will most likely have people who will do the talking for you. But still, there's some barrier between that. Like even if you talk to product people who have some coding experience, they might still be unable to understand you. I often see programmers trying to use very technical terms when they talk about the topic they want to discuss with other people, and it's really, I don't know, annoying to me when you don't even bother to explain the terms to the other person. I see it way too much, and that's a big problem for this industry. And some people, especially new to the field, they might think that we are all basically code monkeys, like we are given some code, given some instructions, and we are meant to produce some code. But that's not it. We are problem solvers first, and this is why I believe that AI won't ever replace us. Because, like I said, solving problems start with understanding them. And AI is only as good as the user behind it. So if the person prompting AI can't really understand what they actually want, then how they are gonna prompt their way to a successful software? Well, they won't. So software engineers are still gonna be needed. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. The industry is like very... there are many problems in this industry right now with all the hype around. There's some companies basically firing people for no reason, then hiring them back just because their initial AI plan didn't really work out. This happens all the time. You have like a lot of influencers or like company representatives on social media saying that our time is over, but I don't believe it's gonna end anytime soon. So yeah, stay motivated, keep learning, keep improving. Use AI, obviously, to solve your problems, but make sure that you don't rely on AI too much, as I believe it will make you dumber, basically. So this is basically it. It was really some really short talk about some philosophical things about software developments. I didn't really intend this talk to be technical, because I believe while all the other presentations were really good, I believe that this topic is equally important. So yeah, here we are. I guess we have some time for questions. I'm not sure who's handling those.
Yeah, the time is over, that's true. Thank you for the presentation. Okay, we have one question because there were two and it disappeared. So, yeah, the question is: what do you think about the Gen AI and the Ghibli Studios situation?
Well, I think it's unfortunate that this came to be because, well, first of all, it was most likely trained on copyrighted material, and that's unfair to the author. And while it looks good, it gives you like some abilities, some fun to, some way to make something fun. But there are people suffering, basically. Like if you could actually make a whole anime probably from those prompts. So I don't believe this is a good thing. While I did use it for myself, I still think that there's fun and there's like actual right things to do, and this is not a right thing to do. So that's my answer to that.
Okay, so I think I guess you think it's a soulless form of art.
Yeah, it's very soulless and very thoughtless. Like those people don't really care about the author. They just want to see something fun, and well, it's not cool, to be honest.
Okay. Have you ever been to Japan?
No, I actually haven't been to Japan, but I want to go there one day. And while I did pass this exam in Japanese, the thing is, I'm good at passive skills, so like listening and reading. But when it comes to talking and like writing, well, I'm not really good at that. So definitely like to practice. So hopefully one day I will go there.
Okay. Have you seen the channel Internet of Bugs on YouTube? This is a similar vibe to what you talked about today.
Not really, but I will definitely look it up. Sounds interesting.
What do you think about putting AI into every software?
It doesn't really make sense. Like there is software that needs to be very precise, deterministic, and using AI for that doesn't really make sense. There are use cases for AI, but like what companies are doing these days, that's not good. Like take a look at, for example, Apple Intelligence. That doesn't really make sense at all. So yeah, use AI when it's appropriate and don't put it everywhere.
It's like the dot-com bubble today. It's very similar.
Yeah, I feel like the stock's gonna go down. We'll see about that.
Yeah. Stocks. Yes. Okay, and the last question. Have you seen the short comedy sketch, The Expert? It's about a client who doesn't understand the problem. She wants to draw 7 lines perpendicular to each other.
Well, I haven't seen it, but it sounds like every day as a software engineer trying to understand the clients.
Thank you, Alexander, for spoiling this comedy. And thank you, Krzysiek, for this amazing presentation.
Just one more thing. We have this, I'm actually representing, well, not really representing. I'm at Elastic Stand today and a quiz where we will be handing out those elk plushies. So if you are interested, we are upstairs. Well, I'm the only one there, but you get the point. You can win this thing and some other swag. So yeah, thank you.